Okay. Very good afternoon to all of you. And this is Shamsur Rahman. I'm sincerely speaking. At the very beginning, take my cordial love and sincere thanks. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My research title is A Study on Challenges for Learning English of Rural Primary Students at Papna District in Bangladesh. Actually, we know that English is an international language. It is also the lingua franca, that is common language all over the world. The use and significance of English language cannot be denied.
Honorable Mr. Presenter, objective mention your objectives and findings. That means results and discussion.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And the objectives of the study is: number one, to find out the present scenario of English teaching methods in rural primary schools. And the second one, to identify the challenges of implementing English curriculum effectively at the primary schools. And discussion, figure 1, the present condition of English learning of rural primary school. The result revealed that 43% respondents replied that present situation of English learning is very bad, which was maximum, but 15 respondents replied that present scenario of English learning is average, which was minimum. On the other hand, only 8% respondents replied that present situation of English learning is very good. And right.
Actually, 43% respondents is very poor, about 5% students only said that they are good. Who are your respondents?
Actually, my respondent is 100 students.
No, not students.
Students,
0 to 5 years.
Yes.
Plus 1 to 5.
0 to 5 years. Grade 1 to grade 5. Grade 3, 4 and 5, sir.
3, 4 and 5.
3, 4 and 5, right.
And there are other respondents who are...
Other respondents also teachers who teach English in primary school, and officers sometimes, assistant opposite education officer and opposite education officer also. Right.
Your findings, 43% among 5%. From what type of response? Is it students or teachers or Thana education officer?
Actually, students need to get proper environment by the teacher. And
actually, I need to know the answer.
Right.
You have mentioned here 43% was very bad.
Sir, teachers and officers, sir.
The teachers and
officers, right.
Not the students.
Right, sir.
So you have to mention there.
Thank you, sir.
Partly, you have to correct it.
And number 2, where supplementary reading materials or supplementary activities are essential or not. 58% respondents replied that supplementary reading materials are very essential, which was maximum, but 2% respondents replied that supplementary reading materials are less essential. It is just waste of time. But in another research or secondary data, it is said that supplementary reading materials or supplementary
What are those?
bingo game, lots of games and prepositional games like this.
Any audio-visual
Materials, clips,
plays.
chart, etc. Right, sir. It's very important. Number 3, whether activity-based learning method is effective or not. Actually, activity-based learning, that is learning by doing, is very essential. And the result revealed that 33% respondents replied that activity-based learning method is ineffective for learning English, which was maximum, but only 5% respondents replied average, which was minimum. And the
Actually, what type of activities you want to incorporate in primary school education to educate or to give lesson to the students?
Yes, thank you, sir. Actually, activity-based learning means, suppose I want to give a lesson based on preposition, that is in or out, in and out. While teaching these two preposition, in and out, a teacher may draw a circle in the middle of the classroom.
Yes.
And here he can be write in the middle of the circle and out, write out of the circle.
Right.
Sometimes teacher make clear instruction to the students that if the teacher say in, the students will stand in the box, in the circle. And when out, when teacher will utter a word out, then student just like this, he will go out of the circle like this. Thank you, sir.
Go ahead.
Slide.
Hey, Fatima. কত স্যার এটা একটা দিয়ে ওখানে গেছেন কেন অফ করে গেল
পরেরটা স্যার
Number 4, whether teachers training has vital role to teach English. Actually, sir, training is very much essential for a teacher. Here, I want to mention here that professional development is very much important. If a teacher is well trained and if a teacher is efficient, he must be able to conduct the class very fruitfully. And he must be able to make the class easy, interesting and enjoyable to the learners. And so learning can be sustainable by the learners if the teacher is able to manage the students at first and they understand the need of the students, want of the student, wantings of the students, and measuring all kinds of wantings. If a teacher is well educated, if a teacher is well trained, he must be able to play his role very effectively, easily and interestingly.
Actually, I want to know, do you think it is about competency-based training?
Yes, competency-based training, right, sir.
Competency-based training.
Competency-based. Right, sir.
This type of training is prevalent in Bangladesh or not?
Sometimes it is being prevailed, but it should be done from the root of the society, the root level of the teachers. Root level.
Being a teacher.
Being a
Do
teacher,
you have
yes.
any experience you have done with your student?
Sir, please, sir. As a teacher,
Do you have any, as a teacher, do you
Yes.
have any experience, previous experience? This type of intervention can improve the English knowledge or proficiency to our students?
yes, sir. Of course, teachers training is very much important. Without training, a teacher cannot do his job very nicely.
I'm not going to do the
Sir.
training. আমি একটু যদি বলতে চাই যে আপনার কি এরকম কোনো অভিজ্ঞতা আছে কিনা যে আপনি আপনার স্টুডেন্টের সাথে ইংলিশ শেখানোর জন্য যে এই পদ্ধতিটা যদি আমি ব্যবহার করি তাহলে আমাদের স্টুডেন্টদের ইংলিশ শেখার মানটা একটু বাড়ে এরকম কোনো
Okay,
experience আছে?
yes, sir. I have an innovation also, and I have thrown it to my DP, and it is
DBPSC development partner.
no, sir. Director of Primary Education.
Director of Primary
This is, sir.
Education.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, I have discovered here that students can be able to learn lots of words based on a basic word. That is, as for example, I want to say that if I think a word chairman, here I can, as an English teacher, I can teach two words at a time.
This is chair, this is man.
Chair and man. And if I omit man from here, then we'll get chair. Chair. And if I omit C from the left side of the word, we will get here. That is H-A-I-R, here. If I omit H from here, we will get ear. Like this, a teacher must be able to learn lots of words based on a basic word. And sir, this is my innovation.
Thank you.
Okay, you're most welcome, sir.
Go ahead.
Next. Whether teachers use understandable pronunciation while teaching English. It's a matter of great sorrow that here training is obviously the most important factor. And to speak the truth, lots of teachers I have seen that they are the English teacher, but they don't use correct or understandable pronunciation for the students, so that the students can learn the
English.
pronunciation of a word. And so it's very,
Sorry for interrupting.
sir, sure, sir.
Its pronunciation, IELTS type, American type, British type. Which one you choose?
Actually, sir, I want to give an example, sir, if you permit.
Yes, sure.
Sir, I'm a head teacher of a school. Just I went to another school with the request of my assistant Upazila education officer as an advisor, just as a mentor. Then I saw there that an assistant teacher is conducting his class. It is a well-known rhyme, two little blackbirds sitting on a wall, one called Peter, one called Paul. Fly away, Peter, fly away, Paul, goodbye, Peter, goodbye, Paul. It is a matter of great sorrow. I saw that the mentioned teacher uttering the word Paul, Pael, P-A-U-L, Pael. Then, sir, it is, I guessed from here that teachers always should use understandable or correct pronunciation of a word. And so this, in these cases, I got data that at all times teachers don't use correct or understandable pronunciation while teaching English to their classes. And so it is a matter of great sorrow that. The next one is whether teachers should apply more classroom language in class. Obviously, sir, teacher should apply more classroom language in the class. Sometimes, sir, it is seen that sometimes teachers use lots of Bengali language in his English class. While the class is English, teachers should use English most of the time. But English class goes in Bengali. It is a matter of great sorrow. And my topic was whether teachers should apply more classroom language in class. Lots of opinions here. Sometimes some respondents say that it is 49% respondents strongly agreed that teachers should apply more classroom language in class, which was maximum, but only 3% respondents are neutral that teachers should apply more classroom language in the class. So actually, after entering the classroom, if a teacher use classroom language, how are you, my dear students? Do you have any problems?
Is it will be more classroom language or subject related language?
Only English.
Only English, sir. Only English. Subject related. Yes.
You have mentioned here more classroom language.
Teachers should use. Yes. Teachers should use classroom language. Yes.
আমি বলবো কি যেটা ক্লাস ছিল যেটা আমরা সাবজেক্ট রিলেটেড
English, subject related, sir. Of
more
course.
classroom language এটা আসলে actually
Sorry for interruption.
English.
Sir.
English medium হয়ে গেল।
Was your honors master's subject?
In English, sir.
Oh, you have completed
English.
from
Both honors and masters in English. Yes, sir.
honors from
Honors from honors and masters.
from which institution?
Honors from Government Edward College, Pabna, and masters Shanto Mariam University of Creative Technology, main campus, Uttara.
ঠিক আছে
Thank you so much.
সারে বলা হয়তো বাকি
Welcome, sir.
সারে বলা যে পুচ্ছ দেশ
As you are
ওটা আরো কঠিন
a teacher from English background,
এটা শিয়ার একটা যাবো এখন
but those who are teaching across the country, all are not
ইংলিশ
like
একটু নাস্তি
that is the problem.
আমাদেরকে স্যার একটু
Right, sir.
One thing,
বরখাস্তি
those who are teaching in English, they should
বাংলা বলা কঠিন
person like you from English background.
I think so.
ইংলিশ সহজ
You can conclude in your PhD dissertation for English teaching in the primary level.
গাড়ি ভালো পয়সা যাও জান স্যার
Everyone must have from English background. Otherwise, learners will be
এটা ছোট বড় ঘর বাসায় যাও
affected and will be loser from proper English.
Right,
education.
right, sir.
You have mentioned this.
Inshallah.
Thank you. I'm very happy that you are from English background. Go ahead.
Welcome, sir. Whether teachers should conduct English class only in English. From the result, it was found that 38% respondents strongly agreed that teachers should conduct English class only in English, which was maximum, but only 5% respondents are neutral that teachers should conduct English class only in English, which was minimum. Figure 9, whether large class is an obstacle in teaching English. Obviously, normally it is seen that in primary schools, in a class there are 70 or 75 students in a class, and for a teacher it is very tough to manage the class properly. And if a class is well decorated and expected students, then it is possible for the teacher to make the class fruitful and make the class is interesting and enjoyable for the learners. And seating arrangement here also another problem. And if a class is very larger, and so learning outcomes can be hampered and cannot be achieved also. And with a large class, if a teacher can divide the class into more sections, where the teacher-student ratio will be 1:, less than 30 or 25, and then it is easy for the teacher to teach English properly. And so from the result, it was found that 47% respondents agreed that large class is an obstacle in teaching English, which was maximum. But only 5% respondents strongly disagreed that large class is an obstacle in teaching English, which was minimum. And so, figure 10, necessity of remedial classes. And we know that as an English teacher, I know that 3 categories of students are there in our classes. Some of the students are fast learners, some are average, and some are weak learners. And this point is very much useful for the weak learners. And in a class, it is seen that the weak learners cannot achieve their learning outcomes at a time. And if a teacher take necessity remedial classes for the weaker students, then it is seen that weaker students can be able to achieve their learning outcomes properly. A class duration should be increased. In figure 11, from the result, it was found that 40% respondents strongly agreed that class duration should be increased, which was maximum, but only 5% respondents strongly disagreed that class duration should be increased, which was minimum. Actually, by the government, it is fixed that our English class should be conducted by 3 minutes, or 30 minutes, or 35 minutes. But actually, to conduct a class very nicely and following the lesson plan also, if a teacher take a sound preparation to teach the students, and if we take a preparation following the written form of learning, written form of lesson plan, then it will be very easy for the teacher to conduct the class properly. And time is a very important factor here. If he gets more time in a class, if he gets more time in a class, he will be able to start very nicely, and he will be able to use proper method. I think ABL, that is activity-based method, or learning by doing method, or IPT based lesson planning method. IPT means input, practice and task. Sometimes by showing picture or telling a story, he will create the safety learning environment by the student, for the students, and he can provide some input like this and that. And after the input and practice stage, the teacher can provide task type activity. As per example, if a teacher right, thank you, sir. I'm going there, sir. Right, sir. From the result, it was found that 40% respondents
35 minutes.
Actually, these are from data collection. It is found.
স্যার জিজ্ঞেস করছে যে আপনি বলছেন যে ক্লাসরুম টাইম ছিল 30 মিনিটস অর 30 মোর দ্যান 30
রেফারেন্স লাগবে।
বাট মোস্ট প্রবাবলি ইউ আর সাসপেক্টিং অর অ্যাডভাইসিং যে ইট উইল বি 45 মিনিটস অর 50 মিনিটস বা 60 মিনিটস।
Right.
এইটা কে বলছে এরকম যে ক্লাস টাইম যদি একটু বেশি হয় তাহলে লার্নিং ক্যাপাসিটি হয়তো বাড়বে?
It is, sir.
এটা ওই স্যারের রেফারেন্সটা বলতে যেতে না।
I had another thesis from Bragg University, sir. Bragg University.
অথারের নাম তো হিজ দ্য এডুকেশনিস্ট, সে বলছিল যে এত হইলে ভালো হয়, অথবা আরেকজন আছে সে বলছে না অমুকটা হইলে ভালো হয়। তোমার তো ওইভাবে তুমি নিজে এগুলো করে লাভ নেই।
Next one. And conclusion. The Bangladesh government has taken various steps to ensure quality primary education in Bangladesh. To cope with the needs of the learners, National Education Policy 2010 has been passed and implemented by this time. The progress should be noticed.
এটা ঠিক না, জিওদর্শন পলিসি গভর্নমেন্ট অ্যাপ্রুভ করে নাই,
2010.
এখনো কাজ চলতেছে। এটা প্রপোজাল ছিল, অ্যাকসেপ্ট করে নাই।
না স্যার, following this policy,
পরে নাই, সেটা তো কয়েকদিন আগেও তো শিক্ষামন্ত্রী বললো যে 2010-এ আমরা পারি নাই, করতে পারলে আমরা একটু আগে দিতাম। একটা কথা কইছে আর 15টা অবজেক্ট লাগাইছে। দেখো এত এরকম ভাবে
this study,
এটা কনক্লুশন, এই কনক্লুশন সাধারণত সব থিসিস একাডেমিক জিনিসে ফাইন্ডিংস দিতে পারো, কনক্লুশন দিও না।
actually, sir,
Conclusion দাও হবে।
if you permit me, sir, I want to say one thing, sir.
With reference.
Of course, sir. Our national education policy has already been published, which was
That was the proclamation declaration, not approved by
Right.
the, not till now.
so far I know, sir, all the training.
না সোফার তে বললে হবে না।
You should
Sir.
say authentic word.
হ্যাঁ,
Sir, all the EFT books from grade 1 to grade 5 for the primary school students, all the books are has already been written based on the education policy 2010.
এডুকেশন পলিসিতে বই লেখে না, বই লেখে সিলেবাস দিয়া তে বানায় করে না। যেখানে যেটা পাইবা অথেন্টিক দিয়ে তুমি কম কথা কও, কোনো অসুবিধা নাই।
Next one, next page.
আর কনক্লুসিভ কথা কই না। রিকমেন্ডেশন বাস ঠিক আছে, রিকমেন্ডেশন
Okay.
তোমারটা হবে ফাইন্ডিংস অফ দি রিসার্চ ফাইন্ডিংস,
Okay, sir. Research
রিসার্চ
findings.
ফাইন্ডিংস সাফিসিয়েন্ট।
Insufficient of English teachers, and so more English teachers should be recruited, and duration of the class should be increased. Large classes should be divided into several sections with less than 30 students. More training on communicative language teaching approach should be arranged for the teachers, and more teaching aids, especially audiovisual materials, should be provided.
যাই হোক, ঠিক আছে। ডাক্তার, মানুষের অ্যাটেনশন কত সময়টা?
ম্যাক্সিমাম সেলের লেখাতে 45 মিনিটস।
আরে 45 মিনিটস, কিন্তু এট এ টাইম কয় সেকেন্ড?
15 seconds.
সেকেন্ডের কথা বলতে
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
15 seconds সম্ভবত।
30 সেকেন্ড না স্যার?
না 3 মিনিটস। 3 minutes.
যেটাকে বলতে 3 সেকেন্ডস আসলে কথা না, যে এট এ টাইম একটা জিনিস যদি শুনে একটা লাইন শুনতে গেলে দ্যাট লাইন বা 2 লাইন 3 মিনিট সময় লাগতে পারে।
এইটাই
যেমন একটা স্লাইডে এখানে বলা হয়েছে যে 2 মিনিট, 3 মিনিট, সেই জন্য 30 সেকেন্ডস
মানে চা না খাওয়ালে আরো পেস লাগবে। হিয়ারিং এবং অ্যাটেনশন স্টাডি করে সব কিছু করিয়া করলো 3 মিনিট। এই জন্য কলের গানের রেকর্ড সব 3.5 মিনিট, 3 থেকে 3.5 মিনিটের মধ্যে।
গান না কলের মধ্যে
না অ্যাটেনশন ওইটাতেই অ্যাটেনশন 3.5 মিনিটের বেশি থাকে না।
স্যার
রহিম কইতে করিবে যায় না।
এখন তার কলের গান নাই।
না ওই সময় বাইক করছিল যে একটা মানুষের হিয়ারিং অ্যাটেনশন
মানে পাইওনিয়ার।
আরে হিজ মাস্টার বয়স কা পায় না।
এখন তো খালি গানও মানুষ পছন্দ করে না, ডান্স দিতে হবে।
আচ্ছা দেও সেটাও 5 মিনিটের বেশি না, 5 মিনিটের পরে চ্যানেল বদলে যায়।
জেনারেশন খালি গান পছন্দ করে না।
Okay,
চ্যানেল
sir.
বদলে অন্যদিকে যায়।
Number 6, teachers should be trained under training of master trainers in English (TMTE) program in British Council on an urgent basis. Next one. And speaking and listening activities should be emphasized more. A test of speaking and listening skills should be included in the examinations. The teachers must assess the mood of the students. The time of the day influence the mood of the pupils more. For example, early in the morning, their concentration and interest is high compared to the time before the interval. Most of the students don't take their breakfast before going to school. Early morning period is recommendable for a full force lesson, but before interval and before class dismiss, it is advisable to have a light lesson, not concentrating too much of drilling. And number 10, response from the students during the lesson or class time is important, and it should be administered professionally. And number 11, to encourage the students to speak English, the teachers must use translation method. To apply translation method, the teachers have to give the learners a language chart in which the rule of preparing sentence would be given. For example, a sort of basic use as going to the toilet. Next one. And number 12, remedial classes have to make compulsory for the weaker students, and they are not charged for remaining absent in the class. The teachers can encourage the students to recite poem, and they can arrange poetry recital competitions at the end of every month. Besides, other English language competition will have to be carried out throughout the year. The teachers have to stimulate the learners by passing an interesting problem. Next. Okay, thank you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you so much. Let us have a big hand for his presentation. Actually, especially I am highly impressed for your nice presentation. But in the primary level, if you look at the scenario, both the urban and
Rural areas.
Rural areas, we have to say that the present situation in English teaching learning in the primary level is not so good. So we have to be very conscious regarding this.
Right, sir.
Your presentation of life, I do believe your dissertation will be nice, but you have to include some important things so far I can mention before you. Just you can try to incorporate your dissertation. You have mentioned something also. Teaching learning environment should be improved
Right, sir.
for quality education in the primary level, because primary level is the basis of education for any human
Obviously.
being. You can start peer observation as you are the headmaster. You may be the pioneer, you may be the brand, your primary school may be the brand. Peer observation means sometimes it is very difficult to understand one's mistakes and limitations. Suppose I am teaching
Peer correction, sir.
Peer correction. I am teaching the primary level as English teacher. I am taking the class, but I have to look my body language, my eye contact. Actually, what I am doing in the classroom, students are below 10 years old. They could not understand what type of mistakes done by me. They thought me the position like their parents. So what I will say in front of them in the classroom, they will take it seriously.
Right.
If I tell something mistaken,
Exactly,
they
sir.
will think it is right. Sir never
If the teacher make mistakes.
So, peer observation, you know,
Yes, sir.
equal level. You are a senior teacher, just you will call a teacher. Please come to my classroom, enjoy my classroom, and after finishing my class, tell me what types of mistakes I have done. Similarly, when you will take his class, you will sit in the classroom, you will say something regarding like you, vice versa. You have mentioned also in the classroom, you know there are a strong learner and weak learner. So you have to think about the weak learner,
Right.
especially in English teaching. What kind of suggestions, observations, recommendations after conducting your PhD thesis you have mentioned that things point by point.
Right.
And for the strong learner also you have mentioned. You have started counseling after finishing your class, during your class or before your class or
After your class.
of your class. You can call them and counseling for their improvement. You have done something. Feedback is very essential. Just class may be the only teaching method. Just I am teaching.
Right.
What is happening, I don't know. Students can take it or not. I don't care that things. It is not the proper teaching learning environment. You have, after some teaching, you have to ask them, can you understand my speech, what I have told in front of you, and try to take some feedback from them. Teacher-student ratio is very important. You have mentioned 30 students is enough. No. According to the definition of the quality education, teachers, how many students in your school? Just I want to know from you.
Sir, personal question. There are 550
And
students.
number of teachers?
Number of teachers only 10.
10. So teacher-student ratio is 1:50.
1:50.
That is very
Unexpected. Right, sir.
unexpected situation. Do you know teacher-student ratio should be maximum 1:15?
15.
15.
International
So,
standards.
International standard.
You have to increase your sections.
Right.
You have to increase your classrooms. Classroom environment should be increased.
Right.
You know, Bangladesh is now under digitalization. You have to start digitalization in the classroom.
Yes, sir.
You have to set up some library.
In my school, sir, 2 classrooms has already been completed.
Completed. You have to always remember syllabus curriculum for the primary school level is very, very important.
Curriculum is very much important.
You know what is the fundamental distinction between syllabus and curriculum? In your curriculum, syllabus will be automatically included, but you have to mention your objectives, goals, vision, mission, strategic mission.
Strategic mission, right.
You have to include written form will be there, the curriculum. Immediately you have to develop curriculum at the primary level, especially for English language, to save the nation. Outcome-based education and outcome-based curriculum. Do you know what is outcome-based education? You have to study regarding this. If it is possible, you have to write outcome-based education regarding your primary education, especially for English teaching, learning. Outcome-based curriculum you have to develop. I mentioned, you have mentioned also pedagogy, Bloom's taxonomy.
Yes, Bloom's taxonomy, yes, sir.
You have to follow for the primary level student. Finally, you have mentioned quality teachers. Do you know the definition of quality teachers? You have to write something regarding quality teachers for quality education. Class size you have mentioned, it is also very important. I think you have mentioned most of the parameters in your presentation, but you are writing a PhD dissertation. You have to remember it is intellectual property for your life. After 100 years, among we will not be here in the world, but your dissertation will be there.
Yes.
The people will cite it, read it, and they will take some
References.
references.
Yes,
So
sir, of
it is
course.
very important. Try to give some contribution for the nation. Thank you. so
Okay,
much.
thank you very much, sir, for giving
Professor-
more important comments, and I must try to follow.
Professor Dr.
Shafiul Alam.
Shafiul, no, Shafiul Chaudhary.
Shafiul Alam Chaudhary.
Shafiul Alam Chaudhary.
Yes.
Please say something.
Oh, always regards to you, but my name is confusing always. Confused name. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Shamsur Rahman, for a nice presentation. I will look at Richard's methodology. In your study area is 5 Upozilla, and your sample size is 300. 100 students, 100 teachers, and 100 educational.
Sir,
In
only
5 Upozilla?
Sir, 10 Upazila education officers, sir. Actually, it is printing mistake.
You must be careful about it.
Yes, sir. I mean, I just.
Okay, next I will enjoy one thing, that is you have done a good research and you have find out the problem about the learning of English or the challenges. You have given us a recommendation, but we have so many limitations about this
Right, sir.
in my country. Okay, fine. We have 50 students and you are the teacher. There are so many problems. How will you conduct your lessons to the students? Please tell me in 2 or 3 sentences.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for giving me a question, for asking me a question. Actually, as an English teacher, I must try to manage the class at first. And if it is known to me that there are 50 students in my class, and as a teacher, I need to take the students' attention at first. It is said that one cannot make to drink an unwilling horse. Like this, if I am not able to manage the students at first, then all the arrangements will go to the dogs. And so, at first, I need to manage the class at first. Then I must divide my scheduled time very nicely. And then I step by step I need to follow the teaching learning process, that is IPT, what I mentioned in my presentation. IPT means input, practice and task. At first I give some input for the students, then I should provide some practice type activity, and last of all I need to provide some task type activity. And following this, at a time, I need to keep in my mind that the students are achieving their learning outcomes or not. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. But this IPT is always followed, and it is also in orthodox method, and you are taking this IPT. So thank you very much.
Right. Most welcome, sir.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Shafiul Alam Chaudhary, sir. Now I would like to request Professor Abul Kalam to say something.
Thank you, Mr. Shamsur, for your good presentation. You have worked on teachers and students. First, you will learn teacher in English.
Yes, sir.
Teachers means madrasa teachers or only
What is a primary school teacher, sir?
all type of teacher, madrasa or
It's a government primary school I mentioned. Government primary school teachers.
then why not madrasa teacher? They are also
Uh,
to learn English.
Actually, I didn't think like this.
No, thesis must be completed.
That's very good, very,
They are part of our community.
They are the most important part of our community,
They
right?
are not only religious person,
Right.
but they are learned every subject. Why not you neglect them? Your thesis, I simply say.
Actually, sir, I didn't think like this way.
You add it.
Right.
Elaborate it, and the next,
Right.
what do you mean by communicative language?
Thank you, sir. Actually, communicative, the word communicative comes from the word communication. And a language is a medium of communication. And so a teacher must try to communicate at first with the learners so that the learners can be able to communicate in English.
Community means sampradaya.
Sampradaya. Community means sampradaya. Right.
Last year,
communicative.
last year,
Abbreviations.
recommendation.
আরো স্যার আগে
Again. Previous slide. Previous slide. Yes. Number 6.
Number 6, you here told British
4.
Council type, you learn, your teacher and student.
Sir,
British
first
Council
communicative, sir. Communicative point 4, sir.
Hmm.
More
What
training.
communicative language? Teaching approach should be arranged to the teacher. What is this communicative language? Is
Co-
it English?
English,
British
sir.
Council type?
No, sir, not British Council actually. More training on communicative language teaching. Actually,
Sir wants to know about what is communicative language teaching.
Communicative language means a language that is helpful for teachers and students or any other person to communicate something. Communicative language. And sir, if I think regarding the world, then we know that English is spoken all over the world, and it is communicative language. Like other countries, people of other countries can communicate following in English. Here, this is mentioned communicative English is called communicative English here.
This is not so much clear.
No, still I am not clear because all the languages are for the communication. Very much. From the side, all the languages.
Actually, I'm thinking it is communicative language, the teaching, mood of teaching. There is one-way teaching, two-way teaching. I am delivering something, we are taking feedback from something.
Yes.
This is one kind of communication. That is another kind of communication. There may be students who is hard of hearing. There may be students who is visual disturbance. There may be students who is deaf and dumb. But you have to communicate with them by media. So visual aid.
Visual aids, right.
What is visual aid? Actually, আসলে মোটামুটি আমি
Miming
সবার সাথে
gesture like this.
ওনাকে মুদ্রা কথা হলো আমি সবার সাথে কিভাবে
যোগাযোগ করব, right,
এই
sir.
যোগাযোগের যে মাধ্যমটা, এই যোগাযোগের মাধ্যমটা হচ্ছে আমার কথা, যোগাযোগের মাধ্যম হচ্ছে সাইন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ, এই যোগাযোগের মাধ্যম হচ্ছে আমার একটা এই আইসি ম্যাটেরিয়ালস, হয়তো একটা বিসিসি ম্যাটেরিয়ালস, এইগুলো। কারণ এই জন্য একটা পৃথিবীতে একটা নতুন জিনিস ডেভেলপ হয়েছে দেখবেন, যেটা বলে কম্প্রিহেন্সিভ ক্লাসরুম। হ্যাঁ, যে সমন্বিত একটা ক্লাসরুম, শিক্ষারূপ। সেটা হলো কি কম্প্রিহেন্সিভ? বিশেষ করে বাচ্চাদের জন্য। যে এই যে ক্লাসরুম যে সাজানো আছে, এই সাজানোর মধ্যে কি করবে, এখানে দেখবেন একটা অ্যাপলের ছবি দেওয়া আছে, এখানে একটা অরেঞ্জের ছবি দেওয়া আছে,
Right.
এখানে একটা ক্যারটের ছবি দেওয়া আছে, অ্যাকচুয়ালি তার বই রিলেটেড কি আছে না আছে। তখন একটা টিচার যে যদি বলে যে আমি খালি ওকে গাজর ইংলিশ কি, হয়তো সে বলে দিল ক্যারট, অ্যাপল ইংলিশ কি বলে দিল ক্যারট, সরি আপনার অ্যাপল বলে দিল, অরেঞ্জ বলে দিল, কমলা। কিন্তু যদি তাকে যখন জিজ্ঞাসা করে পাঁচটা ফ্রুট যখন এখানে সেনে দেওয়া হয়, সে এত বলতে পারে না যে হুইচ ওয়ান ইজ হুইচ ওয়ান। তো এই জন্য যে ইন্টারেক্টিভ লার্নিং এর জন্য কমিউনিকেটিভ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ একটা ফ্যাক্টর। কমিউনিকেটিভ বলতে এটা বাংলা ইংরেজি দুটোই থাকবে। আপনি অরেঞ্জটাকে বলবেন, অরেঞ্জটা বলার পরে হয়তো বাংলাটা বলবেন। আগে হলো প্রথমে হলো যেটা বোঝাতে চাচ্ছেন সেইটাকে, যে হ্যাঁ আমি কিন্তু যে অরেঞ্জ যেটা বলছি সেটা কিন্তু কমলা,
রাইট।
ঠিক আছে। তারপরে আপনি মিডিয়া, কোন মিডিয়াটা আপনি ব্যবহার করছেন সেইটা একটা। তারপরে ওই যে বললাম যে কিছু আইসি ম্যাটেরিয়ালস থাকে, কিছু ফ্ল্যাশ কার্ড থাকে বাচ্চাদের জন্য। আইসে কি করে, এরকম 5টা কার্ড নিয়ে দেখবেন যে দিয়ে রাখছে,
একবার দেখা 33 শোনার চেয়ে উত্তম।
এই জন্য ওরা কি করে সাধারণত যে ওই 5টা ফ্ল্যাশ কার্ড কি করে, অ্যাপল, ম্যাঙ্গো, অমক তমক, কার্ডগুলো তাড়াতাড়ি এরকম সবার সামনে ঘুরায় যে তোমরা দেখবা, আমি কিন্তু তোমাদের কার্ডটা দেখাবো। তখন দেখলো 5টা কার্ড দেখাইছে, 5টা কার্ড দেখার পরে জিজ্ঞাসা করে একজনকে যে হোয়াট হ্যাভ ইউ সিন বা হোয়াট আই হ্যাভ শোন। তখন একজনে বলে যে আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে মিস্টার রহিম তুমি বলো তো কি কি দেখছো? বলে স্যার 5টার মধ্যে আমি যেটা বললাম আমরা স্মৃতি পরীক্ষা 5টা আমি আম দেখছি, আমি কমলা দেখছি, আমি হয়তো অ্যাপল দেখছি। তারপরে আবার যখন জিজ্ঞাসা করে এই মিস্টার করিম বলো তো রহিম হ্যাজ এনিথিং লেফট? বলে হ্যাঁ স্যার ও তো এখানে গাজরের কথা বলে নাই, ও তো ইসের কথা বলে নাই।
Yes.
এই যে শোনা এবং দেখা এটা হলে লার্নিং ক্যাপাসিটি তো বাচ্চাদের মধ্যে বেশি হয়। আমরা আসলে এরকম জিনিস চাই।
Thank you so much. Go ahead and try to put in your dissertation suggestions, observations, recommendations comes from the research person.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. I must try to follow to take all
ভালো
the.
লাগছে। যেমন আপনি একটা শব্দ আমাকে বলে গেছেন, রাখেন। যেমন আমাকে একটা শব্দ বলে গেছেন, আমি এই পদ্ধতিটাই আমি সাধারণত ইউজ করি যে আপনি একটা জিনিসকে চেয়ার, ম্যান, হেয়ার, হেয়ার। যেমন আমরা এখানে মোরই যদি নেই, এই যে মোর, ঠিক আছে? এম ও আর ই মোর মানে
Sir.
অধিকন্ত বা অধিকবার। আমি যদি এমটা বাদ দিই দেন ইট উইল বি ওর, আকরিক একটা ধাতু।
Or,
তাই না?
right.
এই যে কথাটা যেটা বলছেন যেমন
Chemistical term.
টিচিং লেখছেন, টিচিং এ এটা হলো আপনার একটা শিক্ষার কথা আপনি
Right.
বলছেন। আমি এখান থেকে যদি শুধু 3টা শব্দ নেই টি অক্ষর টি এ টি মানে এটা আমাদের কি বলে আমরা হয়তো চা।
চা।
আবার যদি আমি শেষে যদি যাই এ সি এইচ আই এন জি অ্যাকিং মানে সেটা হলো কি ব্যথা ব্যথা বোধন অনুভূতি
ব্যথা।
যেটা আমরা বলে এই ব্যবস্থা। তো সেটা একটা শব্দ দিয়ে এই বাচ্চা কাচ্চাদের কিন্তু 3টা শব্দ
শেখানো যায়, right, sir?
আইডিয়া। হ্যাঁ আমি সাধারণত এটা মোটামুটি একটু
Thank you,
practice করার
sir.
চেষ্টা করতাম। আমরা সাথে আমার একটু মিলে গেল।
Dhanyawad,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind information, sir. In 2019, I stood the divisional best primary school head teacher in Teachers Award 2019.
You're welcome.
Dua karen, sir. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.